Sony has been on a winning streak with the PlayStation 5 pumping out hit after hit with new exclusives each year. 2025 and beyond is stacked with games that are coming out exclusively for Sony's current-gen offerings, and we'll be discussing some of those games within this feature. Marvel's Wolverine. Insomniac Games has also been pumping out hit after hit this generation with Ratchet & Clank and Spider-Man, and the developer is hard at work on its next project, Marvel's Wolverine. Not a lot has been revealed at this point, but the reveal trailer does paint a grim tone for the story, which has us salivating to know more. No release has been revealed as of yet, but it will be coming out for PS5 sometime in the near future. Death Stranding 2. Death Stranding was a great concept that might not have resonated with the masses, but those who took the time to understand its brand of action were rewarded with one of the most unique experiences of the generation. Death Stranding 2 is set to take things to a higher level with an even more complex plot revolving around multiple timelines and new characters, and even more polished gameplay loop with new tools to try out. It comes out for PS5 sometime this year. Ghost of Yotei. Ghost of Yotei is the successor to Ghost of Tsushima, and it's safe to say that it looks like everything that one would want out of such a game. Ghost of Yotei tells the story of Atsu, a young woman out on a quest to exact revenge from those who wronged her. Between the same picturesque visuals and an emotionally charged narrative, Yotei will also add new features like dual-wielding katanas, among other things to shake up the experience for the better. It comes out for PS5 later this year. Lost Soul Aside. Stellar Blade was a great surprise hit that came out of a new studio, and Ulti-Zero Games' upcoming Lost Soul Aside might just be the next big thing of the same ilk. It takes inspiration from games like Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. It presents a compelling hack-and-slash experience that will have you hurling huge swords and executing wild flurries of combos against a wide variety of enemies. Between this and some really great visuals, Lost Soul Aside has the potential to be one of the best PS5 action games when it comes out sometime in the near future. The Legend of Jin Yong's Heroes. The Legend of Jin Yong is another AAA open-world game that's currently in development at the China-based Too Simple. Built using Unreal Engine 5, The Legend of Jin Yong will thrust players into a vast open world brimming with quests and side activities. The trailer paints a very faithful picture of the era, and we're really excited to see how it all pans out in action. It comes out for PC and PS5 sometime in the near future. Light of Motoram. Light of Motoram takes place in a world that's an interesting mix of tribal culture and futuristic technology, and comparisons to Guerrilla's Horizon's world are readily evident from the very first glance. It's a survival game at its core, and players will have to collect resources and craft tools to fight off bosses and keep themselves safe. It looks solid enough, and Light of Motoram comes out for PS5 at an unconfirmed date in the future. Where Winds Meet. Set against the backdrop of ancient China, Where Winds Meet is an RPG that will take you on a thrilling quest to uncover the mysteries behind your own identity in a land that's shaped by war and conflict. The trailers paint a complex world with many moving parts, and the developers promise a meaty open-world experience with deep RPG mechanics and options for going solo or co-op with friends. No release date has been revealed as of yet. Project Jinyewei. Kangmo Game Entertainment's upcoming Project Jinyewei takes place during the Ming Dynasty, and it's all about uncovering the mysteries behind a major conspiracy around that era. The gameplay is all about using stealth and parkour to slowly thin out the resistance, and while there are a few rough edges here and there, Project Jinyewei definitely has some potential for its time. It comes out for PS5 sometime in the near future. Project Awakening. Cygames has been working on Project Awakening for some time now, but it definitely looks to be intriguing at the very least. The gameplay is highly reminiscent of Monster Hunter, with huge formidable foes to fight and soldiers wielding huge swords and shields. The visuals also look fabulous, especially the realistic rendition of dragons on monsters. Project Awakening will also feature RPG elements, so it could turn out to be a fun time. Ballad of Antara. Ballad of Antara takes place in a world that's ravaged by plague, and you must rise to the occasion and fight the creatures that are behind this malice. It's a third-person action-adventure game with Souls-like elements peppered in for good measure, and couple that with some strong art direction, and Ballad of Antara might just end up being one of the biggest surprise hits of the near future. Exile Edge. Exile Edge describes itself as a high-speed third-person shooting game, and there's perhaps no better way to summarize what it has to offer. Exile Edge combines third-person shooter elements with the flair of hack-and-slash games, and it looks extremely fluid in its action. Combine that with great visuals and art direction, and it looks to be really fun. It comes out for PS5 at an unconfirmed time in the near future. Daba Land of Waterscar. Daba Land of Waterscar puts players in the shoes of a clay puppet who is on a quest to save a world from imminent collapse by acquiring the many sacred water fragments that have been scattered around the map. It's Souls-like at its core, meaning combat is highly methodical and mechanics are challenging to grasp, but the art direction looks cool and the boss fights are intriguing to say the least. No release date has been announced as of yet, but it will be coming out for PS5 sometime in the near future. Physant. Apart from OD and the upcoming Death Stranding 2, Kojima Productions is also working on Physant, which is touted as a next-generation espionage game from the mind that brought us Metal Gear Solid. Of course, details on what the game would entail are paper-thin right now, as is a release which is going to be announced way out in the future. This is probably going to be a cross-gen title releasing on both the PS5 and PS6. Phantom Blade Zero. Currently in development at Chinese game studio S-Game, Phantom Blade Zero is best described as a mix between Sekiro Shadows Die Twice and a pure hack-and-slash like Metal Gear Rising. Phantom Blade Zero is highly inspired by wuxia arts, and the fast-paced action is just as methodical as it is flashy. The art style is impressive, and boss fights are likely going to be the highlight of this experience. It releases sometime in the near future for PS5. Marathon. Marathon is the latest game in development at Bungie, and it's a revival of the very same franchise that put the developer on the map. Set against the backdrop of a sci-fi universe, Marathon will put players in the shoes of a runner trying to find glory in a land set ablaze by war and conflict. Gameplay details are rather scant at the moment, but more will be revealed as we inch towards its release date in the near future. Fair Games. Fair Games put a neat twist on the tried and tested heist game formula by adding other players into the mix, making it a PvPvE experience in essence. Currently in development at Haven Studios, Fair Games looks like a fast-paced shooter where tactics are just as important as proficiency with weapons, and while actual gameplay footage has yet to be seen, it does look like an interesting concept with a fair bit of potential. It comes out in the near future. Knights of the Old Republic Remake. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is considered to be one of the best games of its time, and Saber Interactive is hard at work rebuilding it all from scratch. The development hasn't been the smoothest, with the original developer Asper leaving the project, and while details on the gameplay loop or changes to the story remain shrouded in mystery for now, we can at least wait knowing that this will be coming out sometime in the distant future. The Midnight Walk. Moodhood's upcoming The Midnight Walk is a rather intriguing horror game that combines a cartoony art style with grimy dark fantasy aesthetic to create something that feels truly fresh in a genre that's been homogenized to a large extent. With stop-motion animations and what looks to be a compelling first-person exploration game with action elements, The Midnight Walk definitely has a lot of potential to be one of the biggest surprise hits of the near future. Convallaria. Convallaria is yet another PlayStation China hero project on this list. Developed by Long Force and published by Sony, Convallaria is a multiplayer third-person shooter that promises to make you face tough enemies and challenging adventures. The game promises to feature realistic experiences, clubbed with emotional moments that can help in delivering smooth gameplay mechanics. How all of this will be achieved is something that remains to be seen. Intergalactic. Intergalactic seems like the next step for Naughty Dog, a studio that was largely rooted in third-person shooters for the better part of the last 2 decades, and its promised gameplay mechanics feel really intriguing to say the very least. Naughty Dog's attention to graphics shine through in every aspect of the reveal trailer, and while actual gameplay has yet to be released, we can be confident that it would revolve around exploring distant planets and engaging in brutal fights in both ranged and melee fashion. It comes out for PS5 sometime in the near future. So, which PlayStation 5 exclusive games are you looking forward to? Personally, I can't wait for Death Stranding 2 and Ghost of Yotei. I think those two will be the standout PS5 games of the year unless we get the rumored Venom game. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below.